when people might be an exception. So if you're trying to decide whether or not you're one of these people who has a significant difference between... Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit today about when people might be an exception to the don't sit and think about your pelvic floor when you're walking rule. So imagine if you had, let's say, repeatedly sprained the same ankle, or broken your leg, or had a surgery on one side of your body, like lower body, that didn't happen on the other side of your body. Or maybe you had an episiotomy where there was a significant cut on one side of your pelvic floor that wasn't on the other side. Or maybe you had tearing on one side that was more significant and didn't exist on the other side. So whenever you have a reason that one side would function significantly differently than the other side of your body, you're not going to get the same automaticity with your pelvic floor function, because one side is going to function fairly automatically, but the other side is going to be coordinated with the side of your body that has altered its movement pattern. So if you're trying to decide whether or not you're one of these people who has a significant difference between the way the two sides of their body function, you might notice things like this. This is not an exhaustive list, but it's a list to give you some ideas.
Open your wild eyes, life like a wildfire, burn down on your walls and take the road a little further from. Dive in the ocean, dress all your clothes, dance underneath the moon and take the road.
So if you have reason to believe that you might have different function between the left and the right side of your body, you are already using your body almost as though it were two separate halves, where you have one movement pattern for one side and one movement pattern for the other side. And so your brain has figured this out subconsciously, and it has found what works on a subconscious level. But to override that, to solve whatever symptoms you're finding, it might be a belly that looks pregnant, it might be leaking, it might be pain, it might be prolapse. In order to solve those things, you have to create a plan to address each side and meet the needs of each side in order to get back to where your body functions in a more similar way on the left side as the right side. And in creating this plan and figuring out what needs to be done differently, you are almost without exception going to need to consider your pelvic floor. Because your pelvic floor is so centrally located, and because it's key to your core function, if you have a significant difference in the way that the two sides of your body function, in order to even that back out, you're going to need to consider your pelvic floor, and you're going to need to consider it with all sorts of normal everyday movement. What does it do when you bend to unload the dishwasher, to clean something up from the floor, to pick up your child? What does it do when you walk? And so those are the instances where you might ask yourself, like, I have this issue, my left side has this problem. When I step onto my left foot, can I feel my pelvic floor lift? As I swing my right leg forward, am I holding tension in the back of my left hip, or am I allowing that swing to happen? And so those are circumstances where you might need to actually consider the pelvic floor function, particularly of one side, while you're actually in the act of walking. But if you want more details on this, or if you want to learn more about it, don't miss my free mini course. Sign up for my